If you want to be part of ensuring the existence of one of the few professional gaming media outlets that isn't being ruined, go to patreon.com/secondwindgroup and please consider giving whatever you can spare.
This week, the people yearn to talk about a movie starring Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves, and who are we at the backdrop to clearly deny people what they so clearly want? So that's right, I hope you guys are ready for a 12-minute video essay on Knock Knock, Eli Roth's 2015 home invasion thriller. Nah, I'm kidding. Even we couldn't get away with that one. So this week, we're going to talk about Ballerina and the John Wick franchise in general. In particular, we're going to talk about those films as part of a larger push within Hollywood to recognize stunt work as an art form. We're not going to be talking too much about the plot of these movies, so you don't have to worry about spoilers. So when it comes to Ballerina, I guess you could say that you can trust us to stay on point. So, if you were to ask the average person what the John Wick movies are about, they'll likely tell you that they are a series of movies about a retired assassin who returns to the trade following the murder of the dog left to him by his recently deceased wife. And that's pretty accurate to the text.
Killed his dog.
Oh.
In fact, if I were grading that summary, I'd rate it K9 out of 10. However, there is a more interesting subtext simmering through the films.
I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
The John Wick franchise is designed as a celebration of stunt work. The franchise is mostly overseen by Chad Stahelski, who served as the key stunt double for Keanu Reeves on The Matrix, and who pops up as a Chad named Chad, played by Chad in The Matrix Resurrections. It was Reeves who brought the original John Wick to Stahelski and his partner David Leitch, having worked with them on the Matrix movies. Reeves originally thought that they might shoot the action scenes, but really wanted them to direct the whole movie. The result is a feature film designed from the ground up to showcase the craft and the skill of stunt work.
I'm thinking I'm back.
The original John Wick arrived in 2014, at a time when practical stunt work was being subsumed by computer-generated effects. The biggest movies of that year, and most of the years around it, were dominated by CGI. Transformers: Age of Extinction, The Hobbit: The Battle of Five Armies, Maleficent, 300: Rise of an Empire. Oh wow! Sorry, there were some really bad movies released that year. Of course, stunt work dates back to the earliest days of Hollywood, but the profession gets relatively little respect within the industry. Stunt work is not covered by many traditional film insurance policies, often underwritten as separate stunt buyout policies. Producers have historically tried to swindle stunt performers out of residuals. As recently as 2017, 2 stunt performers died on set. It is a high-risk profession that very rarely gets the respect that it deserves. The John Wick movies aren't just a celebration of stunt work in terms of form. They're also in some ways textually about the physical body as an artistic instrument. Throughout the movies, John is a decidedly stoic and deadpan protagonist. He expresses himself more through action than through dialogue.
John Wick is a man of focus, commitment, and fucking will.
Throughout the films, there are repeated and conscious allusions to the legacy of stunt work dating back to the silent era. Chapter 2, for example, opens with Buster Keaton's Sherlock Jr. projected on a New York wall, and the climax evokes Charlie Chaplin's The Circus in its use of mirrors. In Ballerina, at one point the heroine beats a character with a television remote, which leads to the TV showing footage from Buster Keaton's Steamboat Bill Jr. and the Three Stooges, establishing a context for the film's action scenes. More than that, John Wick Chapter 3 and Ballerina introduced the concept of ballet into this world of super spies and assassins. This might initially appear incongruous, but the films draw a connection between the timing and reflexes required of these assassins and the skills honed by these stage performers. In doing so, the franchise also draws a clear parallel between the ballet dancers and the stunt performers. These are both artists who dedicate their bodies to their craft, who endure brutal training and horrific injuries to provide audiences with exquisitely choreographed entertainment. After all, good stunt work is not just empty spectacle. It is performance and storytelling. Many of the best action set pieces tell the audience something about who these characters are and what the story is about. It is just a mode of communicating these ideas that does not rely on dialogue or exposition. The body itself becomes an instrument. As such, it's no surprise that stunt work and ballet have long been intertwined. Jackie Chan, for example, honed his art at the Peking Opera School. Darren Aronofsky directed The Wrestler and Black Swan back-to-back, to the point that Aronofsky originally conceived of the twin movies as one interconnected story. In reinforcing this comparison between ballet and stunt work, the John Wick movies seem to ask, why is ballet lauded as the height of artistic expression, while stunt work has been largely ignored and overlooked? John Wick is just one example of the conscious push over the past decade or so to acknowledge the contribution of stunt work to cinema as an art form. In the wake of the infamous couch jump and other stuff, so much other stuff, Tom Cruise retooled the Mission Impossible movies to focus less on his personal life as a totally normal, really chill dude who could talk all day about totally normal, chill things like traffic, and instead shifted the franchise's focus to place more emphasis on the practical stunt work that he did within these movies. There's a reason that people point to the Burj Khalifa scene in Ghost Protocol as one of the best stunts in the franchise. From Ghost Protocol onwards, the bulk of the press around the Mission Impossible films was built around the impressive stunt work, whether dangling on the outside of a plane, or breaking an ankle during a rooftop chase, or however the hell he did this. This stunt work became part of the narrative of these movies, and other movies starring Cruise like Top Gun Maverick. Part of the thrill of seeing a movie like Mission Impossible or Top Gun Maverick is the idea that Tom Cruise is willing to die for your entertainment.
Jump? Yeah.
Indeed, much of the marketing of these films is the team demonstrating the practical stunt work involved in bringing these movies to life, to the point that, given how far it's gone so far, the only logical escalation of all this is Cruise in space. I'm trying to do Pigs in Space, but with Tom Cruise.
I'm on the phone with every studio at night. We are creating thousands of jobs,
There is a sense that the dial is slowly moving towards recognizing stunt work as an art form. In 2022, the release of Jackass Forever, the legacy sequel to the Jackass franchise, was met with the franchise's strongest reviews. While earlier generations of critics had dismissed the series as juvenile folly, younger reviewers lauded the film as a celebration of physical stunt work. However, this was always the case. Knoxville and his team have been consciously indebted to early film pioneers like Buster Keaton since the earliest days of the show. Since 2023, the popular culture website Vulture has made a point of hosting annual stunt awards. Last year, promoting The Fall Guy, Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt celebrated stunt performers at the Oscars.
We're here to celebrate the stunt community.
Massively, yes.
And the Academy announced earlier this year that it would start giving out awards for stunt work with the 2028 ceremony. Even Marvel Studios, a company renowned for its color-coded climactic blast battles, made a point of building much of the advertising for Thunderbolts around the practical effects work. In this context of trying to connect Hollywood's present to its past by embracing stunt work as an art form dating back to the medium's earliest days, it is perhaps notable that the past few years have seen much greater use of traditional cinematic technique. Half of the Best Picture nominees from 2023 included extended sequences shot in black and white. There has been a minor revival of the silent movie, with films as diverse as No One Will Save You, Hundreds of Beavers, or Azrael. And that's without getting into the extended dialogue-free portions of recent movies like Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning or Predator: Killer of Killers. In a contemporary Hollywood shaped by the John Wick franchise, there is perhaps a growing sense that actions speak louder than words. It feels somewhat pointed that this embrace of stunt work as artistry coincides with an existential crisis within mainstream cinema, as the industry turns to tools like computer-generated animation or generative artificial intelligence in order to erase humanity from mainstream popular culture. One of the major motivators of the writers and actors strike in late 2023 was the question of whether studios could create digital copies of actors that they could own in perpetuity. This is perhaps tied to the recent explosion of film and television shows that feature actors playing multiple characters, from Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, to Robert Pattinson in Mickey 17, or Sarah Snook in The Picture of Dorian Gray. There is perhaps a palpable fear of the loss of humanity in the context of the arts, the reduction of an individual to an abstract digital copy. These twin performances are often illustrations of how advanced technology can be used in harmony with a human performance to enrich the finished product. As much as these films might lean on visual effects and technical trickery, they also demonstrate how central and irreplaceable the actor themselves is within the work. All of this also accounts for the renewed push to recognize stunt work as a valid art form unto itself. It is a reminder of just what the human body brings to film and television production. It gives these movies a human core, mass, weight, integrity. It celebrates how central humanity is to art. It illustrates how central humanity is to the making of these films and shows. These performers are artists. A stunt performer is just as much an artist as a ballerina. In the John Wick franchise, there's always been an art to the kill. I've been Darren Mooney, and this was The Backdrop.
We here at Second Wind are well into our second year as a content-producing powerhouse, and we're hoping to keep going into a third, and perhaps even dare we dream a fourth. By donating as little as $1 a month to our Patreon, you can be a part of helping us keep going. Well, subscribe to the $5 tier and you can enjoy all kinds of extra content we keep under the table for the special customers. I myself have been indulging my hobby of making long-form videos in which I explain the lore of video game franchises I don't know much about, as well as some exclusive interviews and other experimental videos I and my colleagues are creating on a monthly basis. Maybe you'll enjoy them, maybe you'll want to join the Patreon so you can tell us they suck. Either way helps the creative process. If you want to be part of ensuring the existence of one of the few professional gaming media outlets that isn't being ruined and or shut down by corporate bastards, go to patreon.com/secondwindgroup and please consider giving whatever you can spare. And if you don't want to do any of that either, I don't know, take up cycling, it's good core exercise.